So welcome to the third day of the lightning talks. While those with slides finish getting ready, we have the slideless presenters on this side who will keep us entertained and everybody distracted so we don't see that the cats are still working. And that's about it.
Well, I got drafted for first. I'm here to talk about dancer. Wait. What?
Is it going?
It's just fine, sorry. Not you. Not that kind of dance.
What do you mean?
It's not that kind of dance.
So I should go.
You should go.
Right.
But we love you anyway. We love you anyway. I'm two kinds of dancer. One is a Perl dancer. And the other kind is dancer : contra. Yes, contra dancing is New England style country dancing. It is a folk dance style. It's kind of like square dancing, only without the funny costumes. All right? And there are communities and clubs all over the country. There's a club here in Austin. They're going to be having a dance this evening. So if you're not busy and would like to do something fun and easy and free, at the end of the lightning talks, I will be in the back of the hall in the, the lower lobby. Find me. I have wheels and can carry a few folks with me. It's not terribly far from here, but it's a bit of a hike in this heat. How easy is it? A one-legged old fat woman can do it. Your excuse is invalid. A one-legged old fat woman can... Programmers, can you count from 0 to 7 and walk? If you're not a developer, 1 to 8 is allowed. But if you're trying to save bits, yeah. If you can count, and you don't even have to count out loud, and walk, and you don't have to remember the dance because the caller calls it live music tonight, as many nights. They have this every Wednesday night here in Austin, thanks to the City Parks and Rec Department, and we have a demonstration. Several members of the Perl community. Now, one of our dancers met his spouse at a contra dance.
That's right.
And there are usually more women than men at these dances. I see this not very diverse community of white geeky dudes out here. Yeah. And there's more women than men going to be at that hall, more than likely. We have two experienced dancers on the stage. Kevin on the far end and me. The rest of these folks have learned this dance in the last 24 hours. Okay? So it may be a little choppy, but observe. Now turn to your neighbor and balance and swing, swing that neighbor, swing, 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 boy, swing, down, up. Now, circle left, circle to the left. Three motions, circle. Now, there she goes, your partner. There she goes. Now, balance and swing that partner. Swing. A nice long swing. Take your time, enjoy that swing. Remember on the right. Now, maybe you change around. Swing around to the left-hand side. Left-hand side, all the way down. And I know I pestered a lot of you to come and dance and practice this. Well, you saw how, and it got a little choppy on that other group over there, Now, I wouldn't even stoop that low, Rolski. I'm not even going to go that low. It's fun. It's easy. It's free. At 7 o'clock tonight, they'll be teaching a beginner's lesson. Kind of what I've been teaching as I've been capturing people, only more of it. And then at 7:30, we'll dance until 9:45. Now, I've got to drive back to Houston tonight, too, so I may sneak out a little early. But if you're interested in dancing, if you want to have fun, no pressure, There's no ulterior motives to the dance. Just go have fun. It kind of resonates, thank you, to me as a Perl person. Why do we come here together besides listening to Matt bellow at us for 45 minutes? And to talk about marketing and Matt's coworker. We're here to have fun together. And community dancing, and contra dancing is one such, is about having fun together. Making something kind of cool together, and we have someone to help us to lead that, and that is the caller, and a band. That's our programming tool chain. Come on out and have fun with us tonight. Again, see me in the back lobby after the lightning talks if you're interested in going. We'll work out rides. We'll find a way to get you there and get you back. Thank you very much. Thank my dancers.
Hi again. How many people here are here for the first time ever? Awesome. Do you have your bingos with you? Did any of you fill them out? Because you should, and if you don't have them, you should come and ask for them because there are prizes this time. Last year we've done this, and it's an idea that I had. I'd like to thank JT for actually doing it. And this time we decided that if you're a first timer and you had a bingo, which is one straight line, doesn't matter how, which, where, or with whom, I guess, you can get a prize. And the prize is that you will have a dedicated, prominent Perl developer helping you out with whatever you want. It won't be a big task, but, sorry? Usually programming related. I don't know if you need to clean the fridge, if you, I don't know, whatever you need. So it won't be a big task, but if you have some code you want to go over, if you need code review, if you have an idea for a feature, if you want to help them implement some features that they have and get credit for it, if you have a question they might be able to answer because Perl has some of the brightest developers in the world. So come and see me, and we already have a lot of developers. Larry's in, Ingy's in, Dave's in, everyone's in. So... No, seriously. So just come afterwards, find me, and we'll get you set up with some really cool people to help you out with stuff. That's it.
Hi, everyone. My name's Eric, and I just want to present an idea for what I call managing environmental state with a custom interpreter. Mike? Okay, can you hear me now? All right. Like I said, I want to present an idea about managing environmental state with a custom interpreter. And here we go. So some problems you might run into, for example, a script needs a specific version of Perl to run. A script might need a specific environment set up. Or you want to factor out configuration for a collection of related scripts. We all know what user bin env does. It's a program which will find a command in $path. So my idea is we have a utility called, which I'm naming relexec, and it will find a command relative to the script's location. So basically the idea is if you use a shebang line like this, your real interpreter path, that is the interpreter that will actually get executed, will be basically formed by getting the real path. That's the C API call, real path. And you take the dir name of that, and you add a slash, and then you tack on, what's ever present right after the rel exec. And I'm just going to skip this slide. We're environmental state. What do I mean by environmental state? Well, it could be environment variables, current working directory, file creation mode mask, current effective user and group membership, and then of course any environment dependencies are like shared libraries that you're using, or external programs that you're calling. Environment variables that might influence the execution of your Perl script could be path, any of the Perl environment variables, any of the locale related environment variables, LD library path, TZ, TMP or tempter or temp, depending on your flavor of OS. So you have what do you call essential environmental state. This is all the state that needs to be set up before running your program. There's two options. You can basically make the user responsible for it, or option two is have the program initialize it for you on its own. Here's an example use case. Let's say you have some directory layout like this. We have two programs and they have a associated lib directory. Say both programs need to basically access libraries in that lib directory. We all know about using find bin. That's a great tool. Another option though is we can run these programs in a kind of a modified interpreter that automatically includes the lib directory and add inc. So another kind of use case is maybe you've got multiple work areas, all right? And each area needs access, programs in each area need access to lib directory in its area, okay? Or also maybe different areas need different versions of Perl. So basically the solution is you create an app Perl script, and each program uses rel exec to go and execute app Perl in relative to its location, and that script sets up all the environmental state. Example of a custom interpreter could be a shell script, could be something like this. It could even just be a symlink. All the details are in man exec VE, and there are some differences between OSs, so you want to take that into account. Behavioral differences, that is. So the advantage relieves the user from initializing environmental state, factor out initialization from scripts. We don't have absolute paths in scripts. We don't have to rewrite shebang lines when we deploy code. And we can change things, all this initialization, Perl interpreter, et cetera, by just changing this one custom interpreter. Some caveats, like user bin env, rel exec should have its own designated place, just based on the way shebang lines work. Symlinks and dot don't work well together, so you have to kind of figure out what you want to do there. And each OS and shell have some quirks about how interpreters are invoked, so there are some differences. So feedback welcome, good idea, bad idea, needs more work, already done. I put some code up for sample implementation in GitHub. Thank you very much.
Hi there. 2 days ago, I mentioned Bad Movie Night and said, let me know if you want to come, because we don't know what we're doing yet. Well, not a whole lot of you showed interest, but we're doing it anyway. We have a location, but it is a private residence, so I'm not going to announce it here. Meet me here after the lightning talks if you want to come to Bad Movie Night. I will give you details. We're starting around 8:30-ish. You are all welcome. I think. I don't know how many we can fit in the house, but
20 would be a fine number.
20, okay. So if 20 of you are interested, great. More, we have a problem. But if you're interested, meet me here after lightning talks, and we'll get it going. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Niklas. If you are wondering where is my accent from, I'm from France. And I'm going to talk about how we can improve ourselves on our code. So I love Perl and I love myself, or probably the reverse, and depending on how you are reading that. But in fact, we are all developers, and as a developer, we just want to improve ourselves and to provide better code. So this was where I was yesterday. This is where I am today, and I want to improve myself, but how I can do that? So first, we need to respect the rules. Okay, but which rules? The rules provided by the company, the policy, the current workflow, and yeah, you set rules, which one? Do not write rules on a whiteboard, no one are going to read it. It will be useless. If you want to use rules, automatize them. Use Mr. Critic, Mr. Tidy, and probably plug all of that in hooks. They're the great place to trigger all these tools. So you also need to push the limit. And first, you need to push yourself, you also need to push your teammate, and you also need to accept to be pushed, because if you push yourself, you are going to discover more. If you push your teammates, you are going to become a leader. And if you accept to be pushed, yeah, you need to listen to others, in fact. But first of all, you need to read the documentation, but also provide the documentation for your own code. You need to have a code review and review your code, review other developer code. So that's one very great way to learn. And if you learn, then you can share, and you will be able to teach. You will learn from both sides as a reviewer or as a reviewee. Okay? You also need to contribute to experiment and to benchmark. This is another great way to improve yourself. And do not hesitate to steal ideas from other language, please. So yes, use Perl, but do not rely on the Perl system in many cases. Use Perl, and if possible, try to use feature, and if possible, try to use one recent version of Perl. And yes, remember, contribute, experiment, and benchmark. Avoid early optimization. Wait for problems, analyze them, and then apply one solution. You do not have problem, only solution. Crash ASAP. Do not hide the problem, or it will be more difficult to find the source or explain it. When you see a bug, kill it, or at least report it. Keep your code under control. Mum says, do not talk to strangers, no? So please provide a simple API to exchange between two different modules. And configure anytime. Extract the configuration from your code, because you should consider yourself as the first client of your code. On any line that you are going to change in your code is going to break somewhere, sooner or later. And log more, log better, but also know the limits of logging. And yeah, if possible, try to log on demand. So we are developer, but please be dry and lazy at the same time if possible. Try to use code that is already available on the cpan. Do not write them when it's not needed. Please, write less code, take your time. Do not go crazy with the one-liners, but you will be able to reuse your code that way. Push your code as soon as possible to production. Push it slowly. Do not wait too much, or your code will die by itself. Yes, I love Perl and I love myself, but also love yourself on your own code.
Howdy, I'm Mark.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Will. And we are
The
with the
Austin
Austin Perl
Mongers.
Mongers. Woo! Austin! We would like to invite y'all to our monthly meetings, which are on the fourth Tuesday, not Tuesday here. The fourth Tuesday of the month at about 7 o'clock for maybe an hour or three, depending on how much we get into things. And it is at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf on 183 in Anderson Mill. And the website is
austin.pm.org.
So we hope that you'll join us. And if you're from Austin, come and find one of us with the Perl Monger shirts on, and we'll talk to you. Thank you.
Hello. So my name's Hank Sola. This will be a nice little follow-up to Ovid's inheritance versus roles talk, if you saw that earlier. I was worrying that we was going to cover what I'm covering, but it's slightly different. Calling it moose types unconstrained, or maybe a better title is don't constrain your code with type constraints. A little bit about me, first time at YAPC. Thank you. Thank you. And, but I've been using Perl for a long time, 13 years, 9 at NVIDIA. And right up front, the message is saying do not use ISA-based type constraints for objects. But the little caveat note, I'm not saying don't use type constraints. I think they're good. They keep your objects consistent, the code's cleaner, they're reusable, extensible, all good things, yada, yada, yada. They generally come in 2 flavors. You can think of the ISAs and the does. ISAs constrain what something can be, and does constrains what something can do. Very much related to roles versus inheritance. And just a little background. So Perl supports what I used to call interface polymorphism, and somehow it's gone from Wikipedia now, but that's what other people call duck types, right? In contrast to subtype polymorphism in a statically typed language like C++. And this is a good thing, right? It's very Perlish, right? It's flexible. You can do things more ways. You don't need to use inheritance in Perl, and that, again, goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Just a little disclaimer, I didn't run any of this code, and a couple of things were left out for clarity. And the colors aren't syntax highlighting, they're just pointing things out. So here's an example class we might want to test. And it's got one attribute, it's a helper object, and we had looked at the Moose docs and we saw them using ISA all over the place with the built-in types, so we decided to use ISA, some concrete helper class. And there's 2 methods there, and you can see where the helper is being used. I highlighted that. And pay attention to the fact that foo ends up calling bar. So we want to create a mock helper class to do the testing. And the line in blue there, we have to extend the concrete helper class because the type constraint was an ISA type constraint. Okay, I can do that. So this little mock class, I'm going to add some instrumentation. My do something was called attribute, which gets set if do something was called. So the test case looks like this. We just simply instantiate a mock helper object, pass it into the class we're testing, call the foo method, and then check to see if our instrumentation was triggered. So then you say, where did all my files go? So does anyone want me to back up? Do you see the bug or the oversight? All right, so foo called bar at the end, and bar did something evil. So we could have also overridden do something else, but you would have to have known to do that. You would have, and we might forget. And the bottom line is that the classes are coupled when you use inheritance, right? And someone could always break it later on us. So instead, we create a role, and this is kind of like an interface-only role, right? There's no implementation there, but we're just saying we require you to implement these 2 methods. So we go back, we change the class we're testing to use a does type constraint and reference the role instead. The rest of the code is the same. The new mock helper that we create will now consume the role, the with helper role, which forces us to implement all the required methods, but we happen to know in this contrived test case that we're not even going to trigger do something else. But the bug is gone now, right? Nothing dangerous is going to happen. And if you're not using Moose, you can still apply this concept, right? It goes back to ISA versus can, right? So what you've got in this preferred case up there is basically like a duck type check or the very simple interface tape, although it's not named, it's not reusable in this form. But you'll see code like this all over the place in validation routines. Prefer can over ISA, right? And the bottom line is Perl doesn't care what class an object belongs to, so why should you? And why would you want to artificially constrain Perl on top of its already beautiful flexibility? A couple of shameless plugs. We do large-scale Perl at NVIDIA. We use object-oriented Perl. We do some web-based stuff, but there's a lot of API stuff, just application development. We're always looking for good people, and hardware experience is not required. The end.
How's that barbecue? Can we say that? Where did we eat that barbecue? Everywhere. In the South. If you're interested in a delicious sysadmin telecommuting opportunity, contact South on the YAPC channel or on the wiki, South. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Peter Rabbitson. Just work? Okay. My name is Peter Rabbitson. I talk to your production database and I love MySQL. Reflect on that. I wasn't supposed to be here. 24 amazing Perl mongers pulled together money and paid for my ticket only so they can have beer with me. I just wanted to, to reflect on this and just tell you guys that you're not my community, you're my family. Thank you. Thank you.
Code of conduct! All right, you're going to have to put up with the fact that it's not doing the multi-screen thing properly. My name's Justin Wheeler. I'm a developer at Grant Street, and I want to talk about a utility we've written and open sourced actually about 1 hour before yesterday's lightning talks when I was originally supposed to speak. It should be working now, so that's good. So, what the hell is it? It is a workflow management system for Git. It basically binds Git to lots of different bug trackers. It'll handle the entire workflow from getting a ticket from your users to putting them into production. It currently has integration with Jira, RT, GitHub, and Eventum. If you haven't heard of Eventum, it's a ticketing system by the people at MySQL. It's just like MySQL. On the surface, it looks like a good idea, but if you implement it, you regret the hell of it for the rest of your life. So here's an example workflow with Git. Someone comes along, opens a ticket, says your software's broken. You get ticket number 34567. So the user types git c open. It takes care of all the magic for you. It'll create a branch. Make sure you have a clean working directory to start from, and then you do all your hacking, and then you'll submit it to user 2. They'll get an email saying, okay, here's some code for you to review, get on that. User 2 opens it with git c review, and they look it over and say, you didn't put enough documentation, so they fail it. Now, every time, like when you submit, when you fail, just those two. When you submit or fail, it'll actually open your favorite editor with a predefined email for you, so you can type in, this is why I'm failing it. Also, when you open, you'll get, it'll actually go into your ticketing system, change its status to in progress or open or whatever you decide. It's all in the config file. And it'll put a little comment saying, open change set number 34567. And then, go back to the fail, say they fail it. So it goes back to the original user, marked as failed. They fix it again, they resubmit, and then user 2 passes it. So it's now into your, it'll get merged into your master branch, and then user 3 can come along and promote it. So what it'll also do is it'll handle release management. So in our company's case, there's people in prod support, and their job is to move everything on to the next system. And we have lots of different levels of release. So they submit it to test, and now the testers are unleashed on it. And a tester finds a bug in it, and they go, well, it's broken, so they fail it. The developer goes back and opens an A change set. So now it'll say in progress again, it goes back, it's as if it's gone back to the original development, but it'll handle making sure you now have a new branch. You can do your work there, and then you resubmit, and then user 3, being the prod support guy or your development guy, or in some companies' cases, the developer, will move it onto stage, and your software is now in staging and as many levels as you want. And excuse me, as of 2 p.m. yesterday, the open source version actually works. We do use it every day at Grant Street. It's one of the wonderful things about it is that as if you come into the company and you're a great Perl hacker, but you've never actually had a chance to work with Git yet, you should. But you can start with Git-C. It'll do all the hard stuff for you. It'll handle the merging. There's lots of ancillary tools that come with it to handle, letting you know which ticket a particular bug came from, that sort of thing. It's on GitHub, and above all else, we'd love your comments, bug reports, or more importantly, patches. Thanks.
Hi, two bits again. Hey. This morning, 2 new ones came in, Rakudo and more VM. So now we have a family of 7 Tuits. During this YAPC, several people came to me telling me that their grandfathers and older people use Tuits as well. So we are continuing a nice tradition. So thank you for that, for beginning that to those grandfathers. Tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, I will go to San Antonio. At the moment, I've got 3 people going with me. I've got 3 more seats to go to the Wooden Nickel Corporation to look at the Wooden Nickel Museum. There's a museum of wooden nickels. It's awesome. They've got wooden nickels, they've got metal nickels, they've got woolen nickels. They've got even a wooden nickel that's larger than me or Dave Rolski. I want to see that. I want to touch that thing. It must be awesome. Okay, tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, in front of the Thompson building. See me there, drive with me, go to San Antonio. When we're there, we will have a bite to eat and something to drink together. And we will have fun. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Phelan. This is my first YAPC. This is a fantastic community, and in my first 24 hours here, 48 hours here, I was inspired for a new project based on Moose that I'm calling Perl in Plain English, or PIPE. So what is it? PIPE is a module that allows you to write Perl scripts using plain English sentences. Why plain English? Well, because when I say the topic out loud, I don't pronounce a large percent of the abbreviations. When I talk about a script, I usually do it in my native language. It can document itself. It could be a very useful teaching tool for kids who don't always understand some of the more complex symbols and terminology. And it's fun when you just want to mess around. So it is based on a language called Inform 7, used for interactive fiction games. It will implement a moose or a moose-like mop. It's inspired in part by Damien Conway's Lingua Romana Perligata. Not quite as silly, though. It's just a concept, though. The next step is writing out the full specification. I'll go from there. So I welcome any comments or suggestions. There's my email. Hopefully you'll see me around the Perl community more often now. So this is just a sample code of an object definition. So we start out by saying a dog is a type of object. It has a string called a name. By default, a dog's name is Fido. A dog must have an int called its age. It may have a human called its owner. It has a string called its color, and its color cannot change. A dog's color is usually black. A dog can run, play fetch, roll over. To use a dog as a string, say its name. A dog cannot be used as a number. So, what is... So what does that mean? Well, here's a simple list of some of the things you just saw, though I won't go into all of them. But you have things like prototyping, a dog can, whatever. You have typing, you have required or read-only commands. You also have, you can imply a copy of a variable by saying foo is a bar, or you can make a reference by saying foo is the bar. I have some built-in functions defined, such as plus, equals, joined, range, etc. You can also write out just the symbols if you don't want to go through the hassle of writing out a big, long sentence. So this is not COBOL. In the case of blocks, in order to keep the English sentence structure, you use a colon to open a block and a period to end a block, and you separate internal lines by semicolons. So inside a block, it'll look just like the script you're used to. You can have a do block, a label block, all the basic control structures. There's even the natural language syntax you're used to in Perl, such as expression in less value. There's also one extra control command, as well as the three basic ones, last, redo, next. There's also be done with label, which will jump out of all the loops up to label. Obviously, you have use pragma. There's let's talk about instead of package. To denote in a section of code that you want to write in Perl because either you can't figure out the grammar or because you want to write something that's way too complicated as a sentence. You don't want 2 pages of one sentence after all. You can write in Perl, and that just is the same as saying no plain English. Or you can say in plain English to reinstate the use plain English pragma. So this is an example of a block of code from Damian Conway's Perligata. So we start by using pipe, which hasn't yet implemented, but hopefully someday soon. We say, let's talk about example. In plain English, you can print maximum to standard out. A scalar called max reads from standard in. An array called list gets each of 2 to max. Next is a scalar that gets the bottom of list. For each item in list, say next to standard out. List gets selected by the item modulo next in list. And you can see below that the plain Perl code. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Nobody to distract from me?
Hello. For the 1 or 2 of you who weren't here yesterday and might come through LA, just a reminder, LAPM invites you to visit. But that's not actually what I'm here for. I'm for the 1, 2, 5, 7 Monger runners around here. If you are updating your site manually on the pm.orgs, which is wonderful, it's hosted, it's beautiful. We update it through DAV, and that's kind of a pain. App PM website is a little wrapper to take your take a config file describing your meetings, render it through TT, and then push it up to WebDAV. And then boom, you've got an up-to-date losangeles.pm.org, for instance. Feel free to use it sometime, and I'll know that you've used it because you'll say, where's the documentation? So there you go.
Jeff, do another.
So Matt Trout was talking about how Perl is turning into more like a Lisp. So I follow at cpannew on Twitter, and I don't know if you guys want to do that or not because it's kind of crazy. But every single time there's a new CPAN upload, it goes on my Twitter feed, and I like to just sort of peruse it. But one of them that I saw about 2 weeks ago is called CLJ Perl. So what it is actually a Perl that's it's a Lisp that's implemented on top of the Perl interpreter, which is so crazy that it could only come from someone like Matt Trout. But yet, behold, it is not Matt Trout. So if you go to if you want to check it out for yourself, it's at ddg.gg/CLJ Perl. So that's DuckDuckGo, and then if you type in CLJ Perl, it'll be like the first result because DuckDuckGo really likes Perl. So if you want to take a look at it, it's pretty fun actually. He's implemented every single Lisp primitive. When I say he, it's the guy Weehoo, I think his name is, who implemented it, and it's really, really neat. So check it out. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Gene Hack. I gave the keynote at OPW this year, but nobody remembers that because it was immediately after Steven's Mo talk. So I pulled out the relevant 5 minutes. I'm going to redo it here. It's called So Much Joy. It's based on a thing that Craig Finn, who's the lead singer of the Hold Steady, says before the last show at every gig, but I don't have time to play it. If you want to hear it, if you like the Hold Steady and you've never seen them live, you should hear it. Look me up later, because I've got it on my computer. So we do a lot of cool shit in the Perl community. We've heard about a lot of cool shit this week. This is my example of the kind of cool shit we do. People have different initial reactions when you show them this picture. Most people go, God, why? Some people go, that's pretty cool. A few people go, that gives me an idea. Nobody says, what brand of wrench did you use on those bolts? Stop talking about Perl. The only people who like you talking about Perl is the guy who's waiting for you to stop talking so he can drop the Perl 6, when's Perl 6 going to be out joke that he heard on Reddit last week. So stop talking about Perl. Start talking about cool shit. Stop talking shit, period.
Yeah!
So this is a clip from a movie that expresses this much better than I can and doesn't actually point any fingers at anybody, so it's good. So just watch.
Another thing that pissed me off, talking about who started punk rock music. Was it Sex Pistols in England? Was it the Ramones and the Velvet Underground in New York? The Ramones and Sex Pistols. Who cares who started it? It's music. I don't know who started it. I don't give a fuck. But one thing I do know is we did it harder. Damn, we did it faster, and we definitely did it with more love, baby. You can't take that away from us.
I could have just done this, right? Inspiring Creative Pep Talk for 2013, the title of which is also the whole text. Oh, fuck you, just go and do a thing. While I'm on the subject, don't read the comments. The corollary to don't read the comments is don't write the comments either. Now, okay, so let's be real for a second. Everybody says don't read the comments, and really, we all read the comments, but do it on your own, behind a locked door, wash your hands afterwards, and understand that we don't talk about it in public. So, stop talking shit, start doing shit. When you do shit, talk about it outside the echo chamber, and talk about it in terms that make sense outside the echo chamber. Thank you! That's an anechoic, and say it again, say it louder, shout it.
That's an anechoic chamber.
Right, you know what happens in there? No fucking sound gets out. Go outside. Start a dynamic languages group. Don't start a Perl group. Start a dynamic languages group. Talk to other people. Go to a Python group. Go to a Ruby group. Start an oddball languages group. Visit a hackerspace. Mentor a high school student. There's a lot of joy in what we do. We have great fucking jobs where we get to think up new shit and make it happen. And not many people get to do that. Spread that joy. Thanks.
Yeah, that's going. Let's just hope we can kill it again. Nope. That's fucking amazing. All right. Twice in a row, my ThinkPad has rebooted spontaneously when the VGA cable was connected. Do you want to switch? I can't. Thank you. Okay. This will make my talk somewhat shorter, which is just as well. No, it won't help. I already went through a full reboot. Lenovo, I used to love you. All right. Unfortunately, I will not be able to get quite as many cheers off of the end, but you'll still like it, and it is in harmony with the previous talk, but I want to start with something else. We talk about threading, often in the midst of various things that sound like Matt said them, because threading can be very difficult to work with. And in particular, race conditions are bad, and locked shared data structures are a pain in the butt. But you often want to do more than one thing at a time. A style of programming has emerged to do that called event-driven programming. We're all aware of this. You've seen the any event module, perhaps. You've heard about it being used in Node.js. You've heard about it being used in every high-performance web server that exists now, including some of which, at my job, Topsy, where we take the entire firehose from Twitter, store it on a big database, and then have some front ends that do decompression on these requests at a rate of tens of thousands per second using like 2 cores. Okay? This is a lot of work being done, and it's because the threads are not heavyweight threads. They're not OS threads. They are event-driven callbacks, but they're written as if they were threads, a thing called green threads, or we call them tasks because it's easier to say. Wouldn't it be nice if Perl had that? You know what? It does. It does. It's called CoRow. It's been in CPAN for years. If it didn't work, Topsy, my day job, with its millions of dollars of funding and, you know, my life, wouldn't work. It's reliable. It's good. The only thing people really seem to have against it is that it was written by Mark Lehman. I got some news for you folks. You don't have to like the guy to use his code. I know that's a strange thing. It's not as if using his code is giving him a vote for president. It's open source. Oh, and by the way, sometimes there may be something about somebody's code on CPAN you don't like. For example, the JSON XS module, whatever may happen in the future, at present it doesn't like hashes that are marked read-only, which includes anything that is a locked hash. Which means that if you lock your hashes for safety, which I always do when on my objects to avoid typos, I can't serialize them with JSON. Well, at least I couldn't until I patched it. And I used the patched version because I'm a programmer. Why whine about the version in CPAN not being exactly what you like? Make the one you like, use the one you like, be happy. Right? And incidentally, whatever Mark Lehman's difficulties are, in all the exchanges I've had with him on technical matters, when we've disagreed, he has actually been right. Okay? The only time he was wrong was when he misunderstood how much I knew about something because he couldn't parse what I said. That was the only error he has made in our communications. Let us not neglect that the code can be good even if the person is abrasive. We don't want to encourage abrasive behavior, but do not throw out the code just because you don't like the person. And along that line, if you don't like me, please do not throw out the code that I'm about to describe, which is code that I just wrote. There was the talk about putting signatures in Perl 5 earlier today, and the discussion of how to add features. And then I was thinking about how the grammar worked, and I realized, you know, one of the things I really do like about Perl 6 that Perl 5 doesn't have is dots for object calls. And method calls, and I thought, you know, and I realized, wait a minute, the Lexer could just pretend it saw an arrow when it sees a dot. Right, okay, well, but then how do we do string concatenation? Tilde's already taken, hey, wait. And then Rick told me, but binary tilde isn't taken, only unary. So while Matt was talking, I wrote it, it works, and it's on Git now, and I hope it'll be merged.
Speaking of cool shit, if you saw a talk yesterday, a lightning talk by Henry Weinstein, he didn't have time to show you what he actually wrote. The gist of it is, this is a CMS which is based on an RDBMS only, and the entire templating is done in the RDBMS itself. It is a full, rich content CMS. Try it, look at it, it's a game changer. Thank you.
Yeah, we need one more ad here, and maybe someone to help me, because someone else talk, and also I need some water and someone to help me up here.
Yeah, point, I forgot the name.
There's no freaking water within 100 feet of this room right now. This is not acceptable. Dude,
yes, the thing is called a Rapid App. A Rapid App, and the address is what? What's the URL?
Well, I wasn't planning on actually giving a lightning talk, so I don't actually have a URL. But you can go to mimecast.com.
Email it to the mailing list. Yes.
Your socket's loose. Don't move.
Your socket's loose. Your COC socket's loose, dude.
If I may.
Please.
I apologize for being out of order. I've just been approached by a man who, on his badge it says Mark Lehman, but it's not the same guy. There's more than one. So I meant M. Lehman on CPAN.
It's just tabs on this computer.
So, yeah. And Schmorp on IRC, that's the guy who I was talking about. And I know nothing about this Mark Lehman, except he was very nice to come up and introduce himself. So,
Technical difficulties, if anyone wants to come here and figure out why the system's not working, that'll be great.
His laptop is acting like it's displaying on the screen, but it's not displaying on the
This display, the bug is in the display, not my laptop. I promise you, I'll bet you a lot of dollars right now. You wanna go for it? Smaller? Okay. Okay, yep, I see what you're talking about. Wait. Survey says, whoa. 1024 by 768, 666 by 992. What resolution does this thing want? Yeah, that's not going to work.
No, I'm supposed to be distracting from them. By a show of hands, first time, not first time attendees,
It's all you, sir.
people that this conference was your first time to interact with the Perl community at all in any way. Show of hands, please. Thank you. Now that you're here, don't disappear. I try and do this every year, and it's less necessary this time because you've already heard about distributed hackathons, and you've already been invited to LA. And let me tell you, any other Perlmonger group in any city you might visit would love to hear that you're going to be in town and try and do something with you. Whether or not you can speak or just attend, they want to see you. But if you liked the vibe you got here, if you got something more than technical knowledge out of this 3 days,
I'll try someone else's laptop. I guess I'll just make it up.
you don't have to wait another year.
Whose laptop? Yeah, give me a laptop.
You don't have to wait another year to get this feeling again. You won't get it as much, but it won't make you as sleep deprived. So know that there is Perl Monks, there are your local Perlmongers, there are meetup groups, there is IRC. We have, I don't know how many hundreds of active IRC communities online. If any kind of interaction you want, including there are Perlmonger groups that are non-geographic, who, in fact, they hosted a YAPC 2 years ago. You can get your fix of social interaction with like-minded people. And let me tell you, this tribe, this is my tribe. You guys are the best. I love you all, and I hope you new people will get your fix. And we want to see you all again next year.
Oh, my Lord, this is a European keyboard. All right, I'm ready, guys. I am being trolled to the utmost ability by the conference organizers, my laptop, and possibly other forces at nature. So, I got a European-style keyboard here, not my laptop. I don't have my slides. We'll figure out some other stuff. Okay. Where is the / on a European keyboard? Shift 7, of course. Wow, okay, sweet. This is going to be like stand-up comedy instead. Okay. Wow, it's actually better. Survey says enter doesn't work either. What? Oh, dude, okay, sweet. Okay, sweet. No worries. Sweet. Okay, no, it's cool, I was going to talk about, what was I going to talk about? What do people want to hear about? I don't know. Semicolons, fuck that. Okay, the COC is really annoying, and I'm probably going to break it like 50 times during this talk, and you can all throw me out at the conference when it ends, okay? Why wait? Throw me out right now. Seriously, take me off the stage if you want. Okay, I was going to talk about why everyone here should know Igal Koshevoy. Who in here has heard of the name Igal Koshevoy? 1, 2, 3, like maybe 5% of the people in here or something. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty amazing. So this is Igal's shirt. This is his PDXPM shirt. Booyah. Okay, it's $1 under in the Superman. In case you can't see that, it's one of the best Perlmonger shirts ever known to man, or women, or any other genders or sexes or creatures from other planets. Water bottles. Okay. So I had like 97 tabs open. I was going to show you guys many things, and then technology went against me. But Igal was pretty much the center of the Portland tech community. If you guys remember, if some of you were in Tim Bunce's talk about, he was showing you all the memory graphs and all the crazy balls with little tiny ones and big ones and how they were interconnected. And Igal was like this ball at the very center of Portland, and everyone was connected to him. So koshevoy.net is the website, KOSHEVOY.net. And that'll pretty much get you any information you need to go to. There's also GitHub/Igal, IGAL, if you want to check out his GitHub. But basically he did many amazing things. He wrote the software that runs Open Source Bridge. He started Open Source Bridge. He started the nonprofit that runs Open Source Bridge. He started PDX DevOps. He started PDX Ruby. If he didn't start it, he ran it for many years. He helped run PDX Perlmongers. He helped run PDX Funk. He helped me start PDXGit.com. He did so many things that I can't even remember them all. And that's why I had to open up about 97 browser tabs to just even try to give you guys a tiny, tiny, tiny flavor. He was also an amazing photographer. So I had a bunch of awesome pictures. He did awesome stuff, so you should know about him. And use his code because it's amazing. How many people in here have heard of Puppet? People have like heard of Puppet, right? It's this thing people use occasionally. What? Okay. Igal wrote Puppet 5 years before Puppet wrote Puppet. It's called automated.org, some old website that's abandoned, whatever. But Igal had that idea 5 years before Puppet had that idea. Now they're the biggest tech company in Portland with millions and millions of dollars, busting out of their windows. So, he did things that the entire Portland tech community relies on, uses as infrastructure, takes for granted, and just not takes for granted. The people who knew him, every day we say thank you for the things he built. But now there's people that don't know he existed. So Calgator.org, that is an open tech calendar that you can run for your own city, town, country, whatever. CALAGATOR.org. Calgator.org. That's open source tech. It's an open source conference open source event website. He did so many things I can't even remember them all. So yeah, check out Igal's stuff. Also there's Igal KO, IGALKO.github.com. If you go there, there's some various things like memorial infrastructure, stuff like that. I think I'm being kicked off the stage or something, so next person can come up.
All right, so this is a lightning talk. This is not where the people controlling the audio or whatever cause lightning bolts hit me, because that would be bad. Instead, it's a technical talk. So I just have one thing. This is like the fundamental theorem of computer programming. If you need to use some piece of code or functionality, pass it to the code that needs the functionality. If you're writing a function that needs a logger, pass the function the logger. If you're writing a class that needs a logger, pass the logger as a parameter. If you're writing something to download a web page, pass the user agent as a parameter. If you're processing the contents of a file, pass the contents of the file to that routine. Do a very small thing in each place, and don't write a function that like creates the web browser you need, takes a file name, opens a file name, parses the config, does a thing, and returns like the file name where you wrote the result. Simple, compact, don't do anything that you don't need to do. Thank you.
One of my movies that I have enjoyed is 3 Weddings and a Funeral. This is going to be more like 3 funerals and a wedding. But this is the wedding part. Dearly beloved, as we have gathered here today to celebrate the union of a bunch of really awesome people, let us continue this ceremony with a reading from the Love chapter by the Apostle Perl. If I program in the tongues of industry and of wizards, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a bell that goes tink. If I can predict the next killer app, understand everything from catenary curves to category theory, and have the smarts to combine it into a popular open source project, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I put 1 billion modules onto CPAN and make it to every YAPC to show my dedication, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Nada. The null set. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. Sure, a little hubristic, but never proud. Love does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs, except in the Git logs. But y'all know you can squash those. Love does not delight in trolling, but rejoices when people learn new stuff. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres, at least till Christmas. Love never fails. But futurologists, linguists, and all other experts will eventually run out of things to say. We can but hope. For we know in part, and we can only talk about what we know, duh. But later, when we know much more, we will all wish we could erase our younger selves off the internet. When I was a newbie, I programmed like a newbie. I thought like a newbie. I fell into all of the newbie traps. When I became an expert, I stopped thinking like a noob. But we're all still noobs about the future. For now, we can see our destiny only as a reflection in a mirror. Someday, we'll face our future directly. For now, we know in part. Later, we shall know fully, even as we ourselves become more knowable. So until then, we'll just have to settle for these 3 virtues: faith, hope, and love. But the most awesome of these is love.
Okay, everybody. Well, I had a great time here in Austin, and I hope everybody did too. Well, what I'd like to do is I would like to take a moment, I'll bring up the slide, to talk about where we're going next year. You fired up? All right, we are going to Orlando. So next June, I hope that all the first-timers can come back again. It's going to be Orlando.pm is going to be running it. Chris is back there in the back. So if you have any questions, come see me, see Chris, and we hope to see you in a year.
So we lied. This isn't really in English. This is my first lightning talk, so I groped Garut into, being the scapegoat. So blame him.
Go starting?
Yeah.
How do we pass the slides?
Just press left.
Right, start. This is yours.
All right. I got the shitty mic too.
Oi. Como vocês devem estar percebendo nesse momento, eu não estou falando em inglês. E o motivo pelo qual estou falando isso é porque a gente está no momento em que a comunidade Perl está cada vez maior e cada vez mais interessante. Por isso a gente vai falar em outros idiomas, como por exemplo português ou espanhol.
¿Cómo les va, gente? Bien, en realidad no planeamos nada de hablar, así que esto va a ser simplemente los que entiendan mejor, los demás después cuenten. Así que...
Go.
Fine. Así que, en realidad, lo que les quería hablar es que tenemos una conferencia en Sudamérica y...
Bom, eu já falei isso para vocês algumas vezes, especialmente no ano passado, sobre o IAPC Brasil. E, na verdade, o IAPC Brasil é um excelente evento em que vocês podem saber um monte de coisa sobre o Perl, conhecer mais sobre a comunidade, aprender mais sobre o Perl, e é um lugar ótimo e vocês vão adorar.
Lo entretenido es que yo no entiendo nada de lo que está diciendo, así que asumo que me está insultando. Pero bueno, en realidad sí les conviene ir a IAPC Brasil, aunque no me gusta decir eso.
E bom, ele, apesar de ser argentino, ele é uma pessoa muito legal e eu gosto muito dele. E, enfim, existe toda uma rivalidade no Argentina, Brasil, mas na verdade nós somos todos família, nós somos todos Perl. E é sempre tudo muito legal e muito divertido. E vocês estão todos convidados a participar e a conhecer mais sobre a nossa comunidade.
Exacto, aunque, claro, por alguna razón seguimos con esto. Caru en este lugar seguramente me está mirando raro, pero me encantaría poder los slides mientras que hablo. Acá estamos mejor.
E de fato, assim, apesar de eu imaginar que muitos de vocês sabem espanhol e vocês talvez não saibam muito português, mas como vocês devem saber, o próximo evento vai ser em Orlando. E boa parte da população de Orlando fala português e nos shoppings e em vários lugares, entendeu? E espanhol também, quer dizer, ali Miami, Orlando, é tudo muito perto, então...
Está mintiendo. La verdad que cuando vas a IAPC Brasil están todos hablando en portugués, no entendés una palabra. Hay una traducción, claro, pero solamente está en un cuarto, y en el cuarto de outra conferência.
O mais interessante disso tudo é que muitas vezes ele não entende o que eu falo, mas eu entendo tudo o que ele fala, então isso é ótimo. Eu sei, por exemplo, todos os palavrões, todos os problemas. E a gente, no fundo, a gente se entende, se diverte bastante. Se vocês vierem ao IAPC Brasil e se vocês trabalharem com o Perl, vocês vão gostar muito e vai ser sempre tudo muito legal e vocês são todos sempre muito bem-vindos, mesmo com pessoas argentinos chatos enchendo o nosso saco.
Asumo que me sigue insultando, no importa, es un brasilero. En realidad acaba de decir eso, por lo menos por lo que yo tengo entendido. El corazón es bastante rico, no lo comen acá, pero...
É tudo mentira, ele não sabe do que ele está dizendo, mas nós brasileiros, na verdade, somos muito hospitaleiros e gostamos muito de todos vocês. E queremos muito que a comunidade Perl, cada vez mais, do mundo inteiro, cada vez mais se una e se torne cada vez mais participativa e colaborativa, não só no Brasil, mas na Argentina. Eles são mais ou menos assim, mas a Argentina é legal.
Bastardo. Eso sí, no entendí. ¿Sabes qué? No quería hacer esta charla con vos. Me metieron en esta charla con vos. ¿Cómo puede ser?
Eu também não entendo. Na verdade, é muito esquisito pra mim estar conversando, estar dividindo um palco com a Argentina. A gente devia estar assim, e brigando, mas... Mas enfim, esse é o trabalho do Sawyer.
E é muito legal porque eu posso falar, na verdade, como eu imagino que vocês entendam muito pouco português, e como a gente fala um pouco rápido também, é sempre interessante porque eu posso falar nomes como Sawyer, e Larry Wall, e o Gene Hack, e o Hibasushi.
Uau,
O Hibasushi, então, é um cara excelente,
parece que me metí como
excepcional.
16
Eu tô vendo o Phil também ali, todos vocês estão convidados a participar do Yapsi Brasil e a conhecer mais um pouco sobre a comunidade Perl, não só nos Estados Unidos, mas também na América Latina.
Claro que es bueno, a menos que sea portugués, en ese caso, no, para nada.
Bom, e eu não sei se vocês aprenderam um pouco de espanhol, entendeu? Assim, durante o curso de vocês, mas realmente, assim, português tem coisas muito interessantes também.
Thank you very much, and
Thank you.
Sorry.
Gene Hack and Sawyer, ladies and gentlemen.
The mic is up here. Yeah, come and get it. Here you go.
So I'm not related to this one at all. I just thought it was kind of fun. There's a site, and it's Play Perl, and it's a mix of the GitHub and the social and the to-do list. And right now it's still a happy, fun, happy place. So let's go there and keep it a happy, fun, happy place. And more importantly, 2 months ago, he said, hey, I'm quitting my job in 2 months, and I'm going to do it as a startup, and it's Quest.io. And I think that's kind of neat. So this guy's never done a startup, and he's doing it in Perl. And so he's going to need some help. So help him out, and go use it, and tell everybody what you're working on, and get yay raw feelings. Gamify your code. All right. Yay.
What are you talking about, a troll talk? Who is a troll? Dude, keep your ass in the chair, keep your mouth shut. We're good. Okay, why CJPM should live. Okay. We should keep calm, guys. Let's not make decisions simply based on emotions or Sawyer's loud outbursts. Especially Sawyer's loud outbursts. You know, we really gotta think about this. We're computer scientists. We're programmers. So Sawyer, you want some fire? I'm bringing the heat. Here we go. Check it out. So we need critical data to consider. We need rational reasons to keep CGIPM in the core. And I have one. It's very important. Everyone needs to really pay attention to this. First of all, Lingenstein is super nice. Okay? He's like fighting cancer and shit. Alright? I looked like this when he met me. And he did not laugh in my face. Alright? We're using data here, people. Alright, and if he was still with us, I'm sure that he would be heartbroken to know that we were getting rid of CGIPM in the core. We gotta use what we have. Okay. Secondly, mission critical code. Everybody knows we have mission critical code that's running on CGIPM. We can't abandon some of Perl's greatest accomplishments. Here's one. SIGWIC. It's a wiki written in the space of a signature, and it won C2 Wiki's shortest wiki contest, Ward Cunningham's contest on his wiki. I wrote it back in 2004. I was working for Pear. I was supposed to be working for Pear, and instead, I spent months writing this. Some guy on that wiki said he was amazed. Without CGIPM in the core, we would lose this contest. Okay? Perl needs application successes, and this is one of them. We're just throwing it right under the bus. 222 characters of Perl, automatic wiki word linking, backlinks, one-click edits, infinite formatting options with WYSIWYG editor. That's all in that code. Let me break it down. Okay. We ran this through Perl Tidy, for some of you guys who are still new to the language. Okay, so first of all, that grep up there, that gives us backlinks. Any page that referred to us gets linked at the top. Then we find out what wiki page we have with the path info, of course.
we print our page title. There's edited content that we get out of the parameter t. That bare word t is very important. Perl should keep that functionality. Of course, we need to get the saved page from disk if we didn't get it on an edit, and we use dd to do that. Then, of course, we open a file. We print the contents of that file so that we can save. Then we update our wiki links, and of course we have a text editor right in line there. Okay, that's a wiki. All right. Now at this point I should mention the content of this talk and its presentation. It is my own. My web security expert employers, they do not endorse this information, and everyone agrees, right? All right, let's move on. If SIGWIC loses because CGIPM's out of the core, then this just monstrous piece of PHP down here, it's so big. Why Ficky? I mean, what is a name like that? Nicholas Clark actually invented the name SIGWIC. And why Ficky wins? What's that about? Unless actually, if we allow CGI, or if we allow Perl modules, then actually Ingy wins because he can just run quickie run. But that's something else. If you don't understand why this is important, then obviously you're not a golfer. What did I say, man? Okay. All right, now, as Larry Wall once said in 1998, that's a valid argument, I just don't think it's valid enough. Well, all right. I explained my plan to defend CGIPM to Infinity Interactive Training. They came back with their very specific II rules, what content, or what talks are judged on. There's content, of course, presentation, your swimsuit, and sticking the landing. Well, I came here to win. Okay, oh, sorry. So Sawyer versus Casey. All right, obviously we got the content in the presentation. So, you know, we got to get the swimsuit out. I know you didn't bring yours, it's okay. In conclusion, what you gonna do? Yeah, what you gonna do? It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. So Lincolnstein is super nice. Perl can't afford to lose any more contests. You can trust me. And obviously I win.
Inquiring minds like to know. So, is Perl 6 Perl? Before we can actually answer this question, I think we need to just consider this. Is Perl 4 Perl? I think it is Perl. It was there before we had Perl 5, and although it was Perl, it missed many of the features that everybody now associates with Perl. Yet, clearly, it was Perl. So, what were the new features of Perl 5? Lots and lots of stuff that were really, really new, that everybody takes for granted nowadays. So, is Perl 5 Perl? I think we can agree on that. Yet, in a time when people had to move from Perl 4 to Perl 5, there were some problems. For instance, you couldn't do the interpolation anymore. You had to do this and that and such and such. You even actually couldn't write to $1 anymore. That must have broken some code. So is Perl 5 the final version? I would say no. Perl will continue to evolve. Personally, I think the future of Perl is Perl 6. Maybe there will be a Perl 7, but it will be after Perl 6. I think Perl 5 is now really like Perl 4 in 1993, 1994. And I think it's on the verge of becoming something much better. And to show you this, I have some quotes. From Larry, I might add. I would say that Perl 5 now is a little bit like OS 360. Another one. I don't think the Perl 6 process is that much different. My final quote. I would say history repeats itself. So, is Perl 6 Perl? I would say yes. You can get Rakudo Star and actually play with it and have lots of fun and get involved. There's plenty left to explore. So what are the new features of Perl 6? Well, there's lots and lots of things, and a lot of people have seen and talked about this already today. But yeah, you can look at them and play with them. So my conclusion is, Perl is much more about a mindset than a specific language. And Perl is really the community of people with that mindset. And therefore, Perl is alive. And I would say, therefore, Perl 6 is Perl, and thank you, Larry.